The manufacturing sector in Kenya is diversified in terms of manufacturing activities, that is processing of food and other agricultural goods still contributes the largest share of manufacturing GDP, followed by textile and garment and the refining of crude petroleum, respectively. The manufacturing industry has continued to play a crucial role in the country, creating thousands of jobs for the youth. However, increased taxation, especially on petroleum products, and poor infrastructure, the sector has faced different hurdles in its success. This afternoon, we focus on the sector's projection to improve economy in 2019, as well as some of the factors that may have contributed to the downfall in the sector. In studio, I'm joined by the head of policy, research and advocacy at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Mr. Job Wanjohi. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The holidays are over and back to business.
Yes, they're over.
All right. And, you know, the manufacturing sector obviously contributes to so much in the Kenya's economy. That's with no doubt. But let me take you back a bit to a report on Kenya's industrial development back in the colonial times. Yes. They say there was this import substitution policy that failed. It failed years later because it did not provide the much needed employment in our country, which we all know that, you know, unemployment is one of the major factors that, you know, many youth face. And it also failed due to the high import content. So what is the current state now as we talk on the manufacturing sector in Kenya?
Thank you so much, and thanks for noting that the holidays are over.
Yes.
In fact, I joked with a friend of mine who told me that I'm back to the city, back and broke.
Okay.
Yeah. You have noted about the import substitution strategy that was there in 1960s and 1970s.
Yeah.
Which failed primarily because of the two factors that were mentioned. But I have also to add that it had targeted only to sell goods to the local market, rather than looking at how you can do import substitution strategy and enhance vibrancy or bring vibrancy in the manufacturing sector and ensure that you're not only selling to the local market, but also to the regional and international market. So that means we only concentrated in selling our goods in the local market, but we never ventured into the regional and the international market. So that means it could not grow as it was expected to grow. Also, the menace of the importation was huge as it is today. If I would take the statistics of 2017, sorry, 2016, the imports into the country stood at 1.7 trillion Kenyan shillings. And the exports stood at 594 billion Kenyan shillings. That means there's a difference of 1.2 trillion Kenyan shillings. That means the importation into the country is still a very big menace. But as manufacturing sector is not a menace per se, it's a menace when we introduce unfair competition through the importation. You find that there are goods that are brought to the country, they're illicitly traded, they are either invoiced, they are uncustomed, you see all these substandard goods that come into the country. Those are the ones that are facing a huge challenge. Because as manufacturing sector, we want to remain observant of the international treaty that guides the international trade, from the WTO, from GAC, and whatever not. But when you're talking about importation, it's still a big threat to date. You find again, even from the national perspective, we are feeling that we are less competitive because, as you have noted, because of high cost of production that we're experiencing in the country. So that means we still have some various challenges that we're facing up to date, but we can note as of last year, through the presidential directive, we have a few things that we know that improved the manufacturing sector. One of them was the fight against illicit trading. In 2016, we only recovered 500 million Kenyan shillings in a whole year. In a span of 6 months from May to around November, we have recovered illicit traded goods worth about 10 billion shillings because there's a presidential directive. Also, we have been able to ratify and deposit the instruments of ratification for the African Continental Free Trade Area. Also, as far as exportation strategies are concerned, we were able to launch National Promotion and Export Development Strategy in June 2018, July 2018, which now is going to look at how we can develop goods locally, having a strategy on how even to promote them to the regional and the international market. Also, yes.
Yeah, of course, we will also be looking at the challenges, that
Yes.
have also contributed to the downfall of the manufacturing sector. But it's good that you've also noted that, we've seen some improvement
Yes.
in some sectors in the manufacturing industry. And also going back to the 2018 economic survey, if I may refer, in 2016, the manufacturing contributed to 9.1%
Yes.
GDP, which was a drop from the previous years, which was 9.4%, and 10% in 2014. So looking at these trends, we can see that they still remain unpromising. So now we are talking about the 2030
Yes.
Vision 2030 goal. Is it something that we are confident that we will achieve, with, such numbers which are a bit not constant?
Yes.
For us to become at least a globally competitive and successful upper middle income country?
Thank you so much for that question. I would say that we remain still very hopeful that we can hit the 15% GDP contribution by 2030, not even by 2030. We are very hopeful at the Big Four agenda that by 2022 we can manage to get to that 15% GDP contribution. As you have rightly noted, for the last 4 years, 5 years, we have registered a decrease or a degrowth.
Yeah.
Even last year, it stood at 8. The GDP contribution, manufacturing sector GDP contribution to the GDP stood at 8.4. Even not even 9.1 was in 2016. 2017 it came to 8.4. 2018 we are hoping, because we had stability in the political environment, because also in 2017 we were affected by the political environment very much.
Yeah.
And
the electioneering period.
The electioneering period. So we remain very hopeful. However, we have a set of policy proposals that were made to the government. And we're asking the government to look at how these proposals can be implemented. We're looking at the cost of power. It has been a huge debate in the manufacturing sector. You're looking at the prompt payment issues. You find that the retail sector is not observing the credit period that has been agreed with by the manufacturing sector, and many other issues that we are looking at. Even we are looking at taxation policy issues like withholding VAT, which country stands at 6%. You find that our manufacturers have to submit the 6%, and again they have to submit another 16%, and you find it is causing some serious cash constraints on their side. So we have various issues that we have taken to the president, even to the media, let me say generally to the executive, for consideration, so that we can drive down the cost of production, we can increase the competitiveness of the manufacturing sector, and subsequently we can be able to penetrate the markets locally, regionally and internationally. And by doing so is when you'll see that the value addition component of the GDP, because at the moment it stands at 648 billion Kenyan shillings, it is going to rise to 1.8, because that's our objective. It's going to rise to 1.8 trillion Kenyan shillings, which has a differential of about 1.2 trillion Kenyan shillings in the next 5 years. We believe it is possible. Even we're not talking about Vision 2030. We're talking within the Big Four agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about the proposals to the government, and sometimes we forget about the county governments, the county level. What is being done then to engage manufacturers at the county level? What has been done, or what is being done to improve efficiency?
One thing or two things that we are looking at, even in 2019, we're looking at the issue of multiplicity in payments. You find that when you're transporting your goods from one country to the other, there are levies that are charged, and you find that some of them there's similarity. They are adding cost of production on us. So we are engaging with the government at the county level to ensure that there is an agreement, there's harmonization of the county fees and charges, so that we're able to address the cost of production from that perspective. Something else that we are picking up is, as an association, we are analyzing the county fiscal strategy paper and also interested with the county finance bill and also the county finance act, so that through these we can be able to look at the expenditure point of view of the county government and see how it can be regulated, and also look at the taxation policies from the county government through the finance bill, see how again this can be regulated or how it can be conducive for the manufacturing sector. Not even that, we're also looking at the investment policies that are at the county level, the blocks that are coming up. What are the comparative advantages that are coming with these county governments or with these regions where the county government fall in? We have some counties that are rich in tea, others that are rich in coffee. Of these are some of the sectors that we know that are able to grow the job or the employment level in this country up to our ambition of 1 million manufacturing jobs, direct jobs that are supposed to be created. So we have various opportunities that are existing in the county level, and as an association, we have really engaged the county government very vibrantly to ensure that they are creating conducive business for the environment.
Now let's talk about the challenges that you mentioned. Increased taxes, poor infrastructure, also a non-conducive environment for the manufacturers in contributing to the manufacturing industry. And all these are factors that have led to the slow growth in this sector. But how have these affected the manufacturers, either directly or indirectly? We are talking about the small and large-scale, manufacturers in Kenya.
Okay. As I had already noted, we have various challenges that we are facing, and notwithstanding that, also we have some gains that we are registering when we are advocating some of these issues with the government. Had mentioned one of the challenge as the prompt payment. I'm an SME. I've gone to the bank and I have gotten a loan of 1 million or 2 million, and I have processed goods or have value-added goods. These goods I've sold to the county government, I've sold to a retailer, I've sold to the national government. The payments are made 90 days, 120 days, 160 days after I have delivered. Yet I have loan to pay, I have interests that are accruing and whatnot. You find that the prompt payment issue is really hurting the SME. Not even the SME, even the large manufacturers. It's really hurting them big time. And it's one issue that we are currently looking with the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization and looking at how we can sign some prompt payment regulations and code of practice to ensure that there is some sense of sanity in the prompt payment regime. That's one issue that is really affecting us big time. Something else falls within the taxation policy policies regime. One of it, and we recorded our sentiments with the government, was auto-assessment, VAT auto-assessment, whereby it's done within 15 days in contravention of the Tax Procedures Act that talks about doing assessment within 5 years, and many other considerations that comes under the VAA, that VAT auto-assessment. Something else is on a delayed VAT refunds. They're supposed to be done within a stipulated period of time, but we find that they're taking 3 years. These are some of issues that are making the manufacturing sector face very serious constraints as far as cash issues are concerned. So we have various issues, and we are looking forward at how some of them can be addressed by the government in the course of this year.
Yeah, you've mentioned quite underlying challenges that we hope to see a change in this sector. And we've also seen different companies close shop. For example, I was looking at the pant paper mill that closed back in 2009, probably because of the same underlying issues. Or you find that some people prefer to start their production in various countries other than Kenya. Shall we see change in this?
I believe we're going to see some change because some of the issues that make such companies to close down, and we stated earlier, is the level of importation in this country. You find that even the taxes that are being charged on the imported goods, some of them they're not cushioning the infant industry in the country. We have sat down with the government, like now on paper and paperboard, and we are looking at how we can have some of the goods that are imported, which some of them become as raw materials and others they come as finished goods. We can have a differential in them. The finished goods, they're attracting higher rate, what is called the common external tariff. What is intermediary and what is raw, it's coming at a lower rate, so that we can have a differential. Someone who has made some investment in the country can be able to recoup and make some returns out of them. So generally, we believe that in 2019, given that we are at a high, we are really discussing with government very, very much on these issues, that they are going to adopt. Adoption is the issue. The policies that we are proposing to the government, they're quite valid. There are so many of them. If the government can accept to just adopt them at the right time before we lose these investments, or we can be able to bring more investment into the country, that would be a good thing for us. Yes.
Wow, unfortunately our time is up,
Really?
Job, but I see that you're very confident that
Yes.
the manufacturing sector, or the Vision 2030, is not under threat.
It's
You
not
confirm
it's
that?
not under threat.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that's all the time we had for Business Insight. That has been Mr. Job Wanjohi. He is the head of policy research and advocacy at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, just giving us insights on the state of the manufacturing sector in our country, even as we look forward for better in 2019. Thank you for watching. My name is Wanjiro Maina. Have yourself a good afternoon.